It was the year 1971. In a small village in Britain, one family was making the biggest decision of their lives. Dougal Robertson, a retired merchant Navy officer, his wife Lynn, and their 4 children, Douglas, Neil, Sandy, and the youngest, Anna, decided to embark on a journey around the world aboard their sailboat, the Lucette. This wasn't just an adventure. For Dougal, it was a dream he wanted to fulfill with his children, showing them the world. Lucette was a 43-foot schooner, built with a sturdy wooden frame and strong masts, perfect for long voyages across the ocean. Their plan was ambitious: sail from the Caribbean to the Pacific Ocean, then on to Asia, and eventually back to Europe. The Robertson family set sail in January 1971. Dougal, having spent his life at sea in the merchant navy, was now chasing a personal dream, one that involved sharing the wonders of the world with his family. The first few months were spent practicing in the warm Caribbean waters. They explored the Bahamas, the Virgin Islands, and the coasts of Panama. Everything was going beautifully. During the day, they explored tropical islands, sailed alongside dolphins, and at night, they would anchor and watch the stars from their boat. After reaching Panama, they passed through the famous Panama Canal into the Pacific Ocean. This leg was crucial. Beyond this point, it was just open ocean, with no coastal towns or easy rescue options. From the canal, they sailed toward the Galapagos Islands, where they paused for a few days to make repairs, stock up on provisions, and do a bit of exploring. After the Galapagos, the plan was to continue through the South Pacific to New Zealand, then on toward Asia, before finally returning to Europe. They had planned to stop at exotic islands like the Marquesas and Tahiti along the way. But this dream would be shattered in the middle of the Pacific. On June 15, 1972, thousands of kilometers from the Galapagos, the sea was calm. Yet, on the horizon, Dougal noticed something strange. A large killer whale was approaching their boat. Whales normally avoid humans, but this one was moving aggressively. In mere seconds, it struck the hull of Lucette with such force that the wooden planks cracked. Water poured in rapidly. Panic set in. Dougal immediately ordered everyone to the emergency raft. Lynn quickly gathered some cans, a bit of rice, a small medical kit, and a few bottles of water, placing them on the raft. But there was no time. The boat sank within minutes. Neil and Douglas managed to push a small wooden dinghy into the water. Soon, their beautiful sailboat, Lucette, disappeared into the depths. Now, they were left with only an inflatable raft and a wooden dinghy in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, surrounded by thousands of kilometers of open water. On the first day, they had a little water, some dry biscuits, rice, and canned food. Dougal decided to ration strictly. Each person received only a tiny sip of water and a small bite of food. Sitting on the raft was exhausting. Under the scorching sun, their bodies felt like they were burning, and at night, the cold made them shiver uncontrollably. As days passed, their water supply dwindled. Then, they started collecting rainwater using small cups and plastic sheets. Each drop became a reason for joy and a battle for survival. Food ran out quickly, so survival meant catching something from the sea. Douglas fashioned small fishing lines, and they began eating raw fish. Occasionally, they caught a turtle, whose blood they drank to stay hydrated. But the process was grueling. They became sick, suffered stomach cramps, and sometimes vomited. But there was no other choice. At night, the sound of the ocean became a psychological torment. Endless darkness, shadows of sharks below, and occasionally the distant horn of a ship that couldn't hear their signals. Lynn comforted her young children, gently stroking their heads, assuring them that everything would be okay. Dougal kept a constant lookout, scanning for any sign of rescue. By day 10, exhaustion was visible on everyone's face. Neil was losing weight, Sandy's skin was burned from the sun, and Anna was constantly tired. Then came a massive storm that nearly destroyed their raft. The dinghy overturned, but Dougal and Douglas managed to right it. Some of their remaining food was lost to the sea. Yet the storm was also a blessing. It brought them much-needed rainwater. By day 20, hope was dwindling. They tore their clothes into makeshift sails to try steering themselves, but the ocean currents carried them back into the deep sea. One day, they spotted a cargo ship. They waved, shouted, and fired a flare gun, but the ship did not see them and sailed away. The emotional toll was immense. Everyone went silent, with only the sound of the ocean surrounding them. Dougal, however, refused to give up. He assigned daily survival tasks. Someone would fish, another collect rainwater, another set up tarps to protect from sunburn. By day 30, the dinghy's bottom was softening, and the inflatable raft was losing air. Using cloth and ropes, they made makeshift patches to keep afloat. Then, on day 38, early in the morning, Douglas spotted a fishing boat in the distance. Everyone waved and shouted. This time, luck was on their side. A Japanese fishing boat approached them. They were so weak from the ordeal that they couldn't even stand. In 38 days, they had fought not just nature, but their own fear, hunger, and hopelessness. The story of the Robertson family is more than just survival. It is proof of human willpower. The ocean destroyed their boat, but it could not break their spirit. Today, their names are remembered among those who have survived the impossible. Their story reminds us that as long as we breathe, hope is never lost. Unquote.